This is going to be a V Rising guide talking everything about territories, like setting up where your base is going to be on the map and where your castle is going to be setting up shop. So we'll be talking about the different sizes of different bases and the stairwells and the different considerations for you to make sure you're taking note of when you're picking the optimal spot for you to build your castle. And this resource that you see on the left side of the screen, cadrift.net, the V Rising section, is actually extremely well laid out. So definitely head on over to their website and show them some support, because it's been an awesome tool for me to read through when preparing for this video and to have something on screen to show you when we're talking about this topic. So yeah, the basic rundown of how territories work in V Rising is there's about 150 of them, I think 146 to be exact, and they're all kind of spread out all over the map. There's going to be a base location you could build a castle in. And this castle that I'm standing in right now is going to be right here. You can see that it is outlined in a blue color. Now, if you mouse over a territory and it's outlined in a white color, like this over here on the left side, those would be two different base locations that I could go build a castle in if I would like. And then if you're on a server with other players or you're playing PvP and all that good stuff, then this location, if it was claimed, would be outlined in red instead of white. So blue means territory owned by you, white means a territory that could be claimed because it is available, and then red would mean a territory that is already claimed by another player or another squad. And when you're picking a territory, there's going to be a couple things that you really want to pay attention to, and that's going to be not only the location, but also the layout of the territory and how the entry points are going to be allowing access to the base, because some territories will have like one entry point, some will have three, some will have multiple different floors, and some will have very unique shaping to them. Some will be very basic, like the one that you can see right here that I'm building in. It's just a nice, simple, square-ish type territory. But if I were to go just a little bit to the southwest, now this one's a lot more unique. It's got multiple stairwells, and then it's also got a two-tiered system with a very weird shape going on. And the way the entry points are going to be positioned on your territory can be extremely important, especially in PvP. If I go up a little bit to the north, you can see a base like this is nice and big, and it's got the 3 entry points, but that is also going to be a disadvantage if you're doing PvP, because that's 3 different locations that an enemy could breach your castle, and that's going to make it a lot harder for you to prepare an effective defense in a specific location. So if I go back down to my castle, you can see it's a lot smaller. I don't have as much room to build an extravagant base, but I do have only the one entrance right here, so I would know exactly where my enemies are going to be coming from if they are trying to raid my castle, and I can prepare my defenses accordingly. And territories can also have a ton of different variants in the different sizes that are available on the ground floor. So you can see here on the website where we've got the biggest territories laid out. We've even got a couple territories that are up over like 200 something tiles, and one up in Silverlight that's up at 314. Now, I don't think you have to get super crazy prioritizing getting like the biggest plot possible, because the base building system in V Rising allows us to build up. You can build multiple floors. That means you're going to have plenty of space to build what you would like because of being able to build upwards. So I wouldn't worry about it. Maybe don't pick like a super ultra tiny plot, but you don't have to get like one of the biggest plots in the game in order to have a successful base. Because my plot right here is only like 140 something tiles, and it was plenty big enough for me to build a massive castle with multiple floors and have plenty of space to build all of the nice rooms that I wanted. Which, by the way, if you're ever wanting to find your base, you would just go over to the territories map down here, and then I'm in Dunley Farmlands, so I would click on that, take me down here, and then I would just find my location. I'm in the southwest of Dunley, so I'm right here on this T146. So if I click on T146, there we go, that is my castle plot that I am in. So if I go over here and pop open the minimap and then zoom in, you can see that is my exact castle plot. And yeah, this one is only 146 tiles, but it was perfectly fine, and I was able to build plenty of space for the castle that I wanted. So definitely consider the entry points and the stairs and the size of the territory and all that, but also equally important, maybe more important, is going to be the actual location of your territory, because that can have a massive effect on the efficiency of your farming and kind of everything involved with playing through the game as efficiently as possible. And for the discussion of location, I want to pull up this map that I found on Reddit from Complex Grand. I will also link to their topic down below to give them credit for putting together this map that shows the different cave locations. Now, caves are going to be a way for you to like finish farming, and then you're able to go through a cave with your loot and pop out the other side, hopefully closer to home, so you can get back a lot faster. And a good example of this would be this orange line for the cave. If we had a base down here in Southwest Farbane, and we had to go all the way up to the Cursed Forest to farm some loot, like some of the ghost crystals or whatever, well, maybe getting there wouldn't be so bad because we can just take a waygate and we're right there in the cursed forest. But getting home would be an absolute nightmare. If we had to go from the northeast of the map all the way down, traversing everything here to get to our base down in Southwest Farbane, that could take like 20 minutes or so to get there. But the cave system is going to allow you to simply farm up here in the cursed forest and then jump in this cave, and it will deposit us all the way down here in Southwest Farbane, where we could get home very quickly. So you're definitely going to want to take a look at this for a little bit when you're picking your territory, and be very familiar with the different farming locations and how you're going to kind of utilize caves to get around the map. It'll help you farm a lot more efficiently. Because in a lot of servers and on default settings and all that, you're not going to be able to go farm and then teleport back home, but you can use a cave. So even if you're not able to use a waygate, you will be able to deposit yourself on the other side of a cave and then be able to go home with your horse or wolf form or whatever. And there's lots of different locations that you can play V Rising successfully, but when you start to look at this caving system, that's why you'll notice that down in kind of like the center north of Farbane Woods, like right up in here where you can see my mouse swirling, that's going to be a really good spot because you've got 4 caves right next to you. If you built like right here in north central Farbane, even if you're way up here in the cursed forest, boom, you can teleport close to home. You're way up here getting batteries and gloom rot and doing all that type of stuff, pop in a cave, boom, you're right next to home. You pop out of the iron mine after doing an iron run, boom, take a cave, and you're right here back at home. You can go from Silverlight, cross this untraversable area, boom, pop out here, and horse on over home. So there's a lot of different ways to get back home with these 4 caves next to you if you were in north central Farbane. And I can also just kind of go around each territory and talk about some of the things involved with that territory just from like a top level view if you're curious about the map breakdown. So the Farbane Woods is going to be where you start the game. You're going to pop out of the tutorial area either on the left or the right, kind of next to these waygates. And then you're going to enter up into here on the bottom south end of the map. And that's just going to be your intro area where you've got the copper and the sulfur and all those like rogue militia camps where you're going to be going up against the initial content in the game. And then eventually you'll move on into Dunley Farmlands right here. Now this is going to be where you start to get introduced to some of the other mechanics in the game, like areas that are going to affect you with garlic or needing holy resistance to go into the monastery type area. And base locations in Dunley Farmlands end up being pretty popular because obviously it's in a very centralized location that you can get to fairly early in the game. And you're going to be very close to some very vital resources like iron and glass, and going right to your east to get into Mortium to farm Stygian shards. So very popular locations here in Dunley Farmlands. Then you're going to be going up into the next phase of the game where you've got like Silverlight and Gloomrot and the Cursed Forest and the Ruins of Mortium. You're going to kind of go all in a circle here around the Dunley Farmlands. The Hollowed Mountains is an area that's kind of small and it's not really super fleshed out. I feel like it was kind of thrown in there from a developer standpoint. I really wish they would expand on this a little bit over to the east like they did up here with the Oakvale update and added this. I wish they would make the Hollowed Mountains a similar size here to Oakvale, but anyway, not right now. It's kind of a small and underexplored area, but it does have some bases in there, and you will have to go in there for like a boss fight and stuff like that. And then the Cursed Forest is going to be kind of like a haunted type area where your vision will get clouded if you don't go up there with the special cape that you get from defeating, I think, Ben the Wanderer is what unlocks that. But you can also release little wisp type things that will free up your vision for a little bit as well. Then you've got the Gloomrot area where south is going to be like the mutants and all those fetid pools, and where you get like the mutant grease and unlock those mechanics. Then Gloomrot north is going to be like the steampunk electricity area where you go for your tech scrap and you're going to be charging your batteries up there. The Silverlight Hills is going to be where you get like the grapes and the gold sun coins, and has the other big mine in the game in the silver mine. Then Oakvale is going to be the new area in the game where it's got all of those corrupted mechanics like the corrupted damage and the corrupted blood type. And up there is where you'll get the Emery as well, where you can get the forge that's going to allow you to combine rolls from items. And each kind of area in the game has specific things that make it really important. So there are all sorts of different territories that you can play very successfully in V Rising, but that's some of the things that I want you to consider in terms of the basics on what will make a successful territory for you, based on how many entrances you want and what size and shape you want, and then making sure that you have a plan going into it of kind of how you're going to route your farming trips around that cave system. And anything that you saw in this video, I will make sure to link down below so you can access it on your end as well. So remember to subscribe, that way you don't miss out on any of the guides and videos and tips and tricks and builds we're going to be doing here on the channel. And then we also have a Discord linked down below if you ever want to pop in and tag me with a question or discuss V Rising with other people who are playing. So I appreciate all of you. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Peace.